Is it really that time again? Yes, sir. It's once again time for the yearly Gran Turismo 2 challenge run. Last time, I beat GT2 with only red cars. This time, I'm going to try to beat GT2 with red, white, and blue cars. That's right, it's cars from my home country. Ahoy there! America, the country that gave the world baseball, friendly fire, and muscle cars. It's the delightfully sad place I call home. But I'm not here to muse on the state of the world, I'm here to put on a video game tribute to the USA. And wouldn't you know it, 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So, for my tribute to the country, we're going to play a game originally developed by the Japanese, but driving in only American cars. This is the American Cars Only Challenge in Gran Turismo 2. GT2 has over 600 cars to mess with, and several more American cars were brought into the fold. With the mod known as Project A-Spec, there's a few more cars tossed in for good measure that I'll want to play with. The rules are as follows. I can only buy cars from South City. Acura, Lexus, and Infiniti do not count, and Acura was moved to Honda in A-Spec 1.2. I'll try to avoid using world cars with American badges as we didn't get certain models over here in the States. For example, Ford has its own European subsidiary selling cars for the European market. This means that I won't use cars like the Ka, RS200, and Puma unless I really need to. Basically the in case of emergency break glass clause. The Ford Focus and Mercury Cougar do count since we got those here, and we also got a rebadged Mondeo here around this time. These next two rules go without saying, but I'll say them anyway. I must sell all prize cars if they're not American, and license tests don't count. With that out of the way, 10 hut! We started with a whimper, because even with adjusted prices in South City, buying a first car wasn't going to be cheap. I already ruled out buying a Ford Ka for now, since, again, we didn't get it here. So that left me with two choices, and both of them were from Dodge. I could either buy a Neon ACR or a Stratus. I opted to go with the Neon, because I'm not going to reuse that SNL joke, that'd be too easy. What isn't too easy is Sunday Cup in an unmodified car. I'm rusty as hell after sitting on this game for months, so I had to remember that there's rubber banding up the wazoo in Sunday Cup. Deep in my mind, I could hear Super Bon Bon by Soul Coughing as the Econo boxes crept up on me. But I held on and won the race in the purple Neon. Why don't I call this Blacklight? 3,000 credits later, I buy a racing chip and a weight reduction and send Blacklight back to Tahiti Road in the old Sunday Cup rat race. I think someone might be behind me, I don't know. A couple more upgrades and it's back to, you guessed it, Tahiti Road. After this third race, I'm gonna let you know how many times I completed race 1 of Sunday Cup to save up for useful upgrades. Both you and I don't want to see the same race done many times in a row. So, after my 5th overall attempt, I decided to not buy a new car and instead upgrade Blacklight with a new transmission to get rid of its god-awful gear ratios. Then I sent it to high-speed ring. Unsurprisingly, it was too close for comfort and I needed to refine my gears, but thanks to some questionably clean overtakes, I kept the other cars at bay. I had a decision to make. Did I want to prioritize power or grip? I decided on the latter so I could send Blacklight to Clubman Cup for more cash. Still a little dicey in the early game thanks to my relatively weak car and rubber banding, but the orange Lotus Elan gave me a little boost on lap 2 to let me win the race.
Thanks, lad!
Still no prize cars in Clubman Cup, so it was then time to up Blacklight's power. The Neon ACR can't get turbo upgrades, sadly, so that means its power is all natural. Off to Grindelwald. I was not supposed to win this race since I was against a TVR Chimera, a Peugeot Coupe, and a Venturi Atlantique. But as they say, drive smarter and not harder. And if all else fails, block. I decided to gear Blacklight up for 2 more rides for that session, with the hope of saving up for another car that was faster, most likely a muscle car. First up was Rome Short again, then it was Red Rock Valley to finish Sunday Cup. Well, if it isn't Mustang Sally. Sorry, but Mustangs are not on the agenda this time. Instead, I kept with the Dodge theme and bought the 1970 Challenger in bright red, and I might as well go 3 for 3 on the Vesta Strawberry wheels. Last race of the session was back at Rome Short to bolster my checkbook. This oaf has no brakes, no suspension, and no gears, but it has exceptional straight line speed, and it's kind of funny to watch this thing turn.
Oh, bless him. Trying so hard. Useless.
My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim, so I had to stop for the night. The red Challenger would get its chance to shine later, but when I returned, it was back to school. Once more with feeling, it's license test time. The usual slate of start, stop, and circle track plus Ford Cougar wrangling equals B license. Not bad considering this is the first time I've done these tests exclusively in manual transmission. A license was next on the plan. I've always wondered what tracks some of these tests take place on, since these don't take place on most in-game tracks. Pardon my sloppy driving because I'm still getting the hang of driving in manual, but hey, if it's good enough to get a license, then it's good enough for me and you. I'll save the other 3 licenses for later, just to make things more interesting. Armed with my newfound licenses, it was off to FR Challenge 1 at Clubman Stage Route 5 in the Cherry Challenger. This thing still can't do anything but go straight, so back to the drawing board. I spent the cash I had saved on the sport suspension and sent it to Rome Circuit and Clubman Cup, only to choke on the 4 gears the car had. Instead, it was back to Grindelwald. The Cherry Challenger may have nearly 300 horsepower, but I think it might actually be slower than the Blacklight Neon due to its size and weight. I was on the edge of my seat throughout the whole race. Back to Rome Short once again at Clubman Cup. I did this one to save up for a racing transmission, since that would likely add a 5th gear. Handling is better, but still not what I'd call good. And I got bumped out at first by a Mini Cooper of all things. But I overtook it on the back straight because this thing is still Mopar muscle. After applying some transmission tuning, it was back to Clubman Stage Route 5 to try FR Challenge 1 again. Things were a mess on lap 1, but I cleaned it up on lap 2 to reel in the win. And now I get the canonical blue Sil 80. Still can't use it, however. Time to give Rome Circuit another go in Clubman Cup. The Ferrari 355 F1 was a big problem because even with my new gears, it had better cornering and straight line speed. I didn't have the speed or the cornering, but I once again had the mass. With an additional 7,000 credits, it was time to further address my cornering problem. One set of medium slicks coming up. To test my new tires, it was back to Clubman Stage Route 5 in FR Challenge 1. Oh yeah, definitely another step in the right direction. This would still benefit from another weight reduction, and that is what it's going to get. Then it was off to Rome Circuit for Historic Car Trophy 2. While the Ford GT40 wasn't there, the Dome Zero effectively took its place. It was quick, but not quick enough to escape the Cherry Challenger. The Lotus Europa is our prize, which we have to sell off. I was scratching my head as to what to do next, so I chose to get the rest of the licenses, minus Super License, of course. International C consisted of D-Rights cars, PTSD Camaros, Red Rock Valley corners, and some unintentional drifting. With IC done, it was time to test for IB. No, not that. International B. The curriculum included easy rally tests, which I didn't get gold on thanks to inexperience using manual, trying to figure out how front-wheel drive cars can oversteer, the stupid multi-corner test with the Mustang SVT Cobra, and the tire slaloms. I need to stop using the chase cam in these slalom tests. IB is ours. I mean, International B. Now for IA. 2 tumultuous tests at Not Spa, cornering at my ex-least favorite track, a truly easy rally test followed by going up and down Pikes Peak, and some practical cornering result in the penultimate license and the last license we need to beat the game with. Class dismissed. Time to tag Blacklight back in, starting with some new rubber and an NA tune for FF Challenge and Compact Car World Cup. At FF1, is that a GM EV1? Anyway, Blacklight and its super soft slicks had grip for days. I'd say that was money well spent, and money well earned, as the 5,000 credits for winning came with a 7,000 credit bonus in the form of the Mugen Accord. Rome Short for Compact Cup 1. Not much to say here, nary a Toyota Vitz in sight. Well, except for this one. If I was allowed to keep it, I would have named it Guinevere, or Gwen for short. But its real name today is gone. Seattle's short for Compact Cup 2. Turn 1 Seattle wasn't a mess this time because I was too fast. Well, maybe not fast enough to snap the rubber band. The Renault Clio I won is sold off, and I used all the money I saved up to beef up the Cherry Challenger. Then I sent it back to Grindelwald, but at race 3 of Historic Car Trophy. Oh, you again. The Dome Zero returned to give the old-timers a heart attack. Gotta say though, the Cherry Challenger is leagues better to drive now than it was stock. Still has some issues with handling though, but it's much more manageable now. This time around, our prize for winning is a 64 Impala SS. This was new to 1.2.1 of the A-Spec mod, and now it's here in my garage to sit pretty. Though I might use it later after giving it some upgrades. The same could be said about another certain prize car. It's back to the Cobra Farms of Seattle circuit. Yeehaw! Cruising down Alaskan Way, I realized that the Cherry Challenger is the same generation of Challenger that John Tanner drove in Driver San Francisco. I don't know why it reminded me of a game I haven't played yet. Maybe it's the sight of muscle cars chasing each other on inclined roads in a western US city. I raced here twice. Once to sell a Cobra, and twice to keep a Cobra. Though I'm keeping the yellow one I won from the first attempt. After selling the other Cobra, I switched to the yellow Cobra and geared it up for race 2 of FR Challenge at Special Stage Route 5. The Cobra was a runaway freight train rocking its obligatory 3-spoke Super Advan wheels. We were once again graced with the Nismo 270R in its Mandarin Orange GT2 beta color. I'm full, thanks. I sent the yellow Cobra over to Deep Forest for race 2 of Pure Sports Car Cup. The Cobra would definitely count as a pure sports car, and so it slithered right through the competition. We earned the fictional Tommy Kyra ZZ3, which we tossed to the side. Back into Blacklight for race 1 of Historic Car Trophy at the familiar Tahiti Road. We see the usual suspects plus a triggered Toyota 2000 GT. He was probably mad at me for breaking the rules, but I counter by arguing that his car exceeds the power limit. Seriously, go away, you're like an angry bee! Now, did the original mod team replace the prize car, or is it still a tuned Del Sol? Oh! It's the somewhat valuable Dome Zero concept car. Blacklight took another 2 laps around Tahiti Road, this time against some convertible cars. The Neon was never sold as a convertible, but it was briefly sold as a coupe. In fact, there's a Neon coupe in the game. The prize car is useless to me. Blacklight got a few more upgrades and went to close out Compact Car World Cup at Autumn Ring, which may seem pointless because the prize cars are all crap you can buy at any time. However, the final prize car is the Mini Cooper R50 concept, a British car built by the Germans, which means I can't use it. I switched over to the Cherry Challenger and gave it more upgrades for 394 horsepower races. Then I sent it to race 4 of 80s Cup at Seattle Circuit. I owe my knowledge of tuning and Gran Turismo to T-Kanji. With enough upgrades in the right settings, almost any car can be turned into something great. Our reward is the Ford Zaxby Capri, one badass race car. Hold on, did we get a Capri here around the 80s? Well, no, we didn't. Not from Europe, anyway. There was a short-lived Mercury Capri, but that was a Fox Body Mustang. So that means the Zaxby Capri gets the heave-ho. One last time for this session, I sent the Cherry Challenger back to Tahiti for the 5th race of 80s Car Cup. The Cherry Challenger wins, no contest. And the prize car is... Seriously? Am I always cursed to get the Skyline silhouette in blue? Damn you, Yamauchi. That was enough steaming for the time being. It was time to recharge and save up for a street-legal race car. Here we are again at the blue skies and sprawling seas of Tahiti Road, which isn't actually in Tahiti, but still very lush and serene. Back in the Cherry Challenger, I returned to race 5 of 80s Cup to acquire another Skyline silhouette from some extra dough. This time it was the correct color, but sadly the hero car of the Red Challenge will not be with us today. But that's okay, because now I had enough money to buy the car that took 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at Le Mans in 1966. Maybe not the exact one, but among the cars that won Le Mans for 4 years straight. He's here. It's the Ford GT40. And yes, the GT40 does count since Henry Ford II, aka Hank the Deuce, blessed the project and Carroll Shelby helped refine the car. I picked this snazzy black color, mated it to some gold BBS RE wheels, and sent it to take on the world. Although I wasn't fully acclimated to the GT40 and manual, it made short work of Seattle short against muscle cars. We still got the PT Spider out of Muscle Car Cup 1, and we're gonna keep it. Then it was off to my favorite track in the game, as well as one of my favorite real-life circuits to race on, Laguna Seca. What I love about the GT40s and GT2 is that they're so forgiving to drive. Out of the box they can perform well, and they perform even better with tuning, and racing slicks come free with purchase. The only way for a GT40 to lose grip is if a track section is really bumpy. Even then, a skid can be easily corrected like what happened on the corkscrew in this race. These things can punch well above their weight. Speaking of weight, how about a goofy land yacht? Now it's off to Grindelwald to destroy a bunch of drop tops. We have now achieved peak GT2, where the rules are made up and the power cap doesn't matter. This MRS concept doesn't matter to us either. Next up, it was off to High Speed Ring for the second race of MR Challenge. With a 493 horsepower cap, cars were slightly faster but were outmatched in cornering precision. Sayonara, Tom's T020. Race 3 at Red Rock Valley. Wait, where are my manners? I have to get the first race at Grand Valley East done. All too easy. Maybe I should call this GT40 Darth Vader. Think about it. Looks kinda like Darth Vader from multiple angles. The general shape of the car looks like Darth Vader's helmet. After selling the TRD 2000 GT, a change of wheels was in order. Welcome to the dark side. We have cookies here. The first race as Darth Vader was to travel to the Mustafar system, aka Red Rock Valley, and take down the other MR cars that stood in its way. This was no easy feat, however. In addition to the Ferrari F40, new Ferrari F50, and Venturi Atlantique, my main rivals were another GT40 and the Lamborghini Ital-designed Kala. They were faster in a straight line, no doubt, but I had much faster cornering. Our victory was capped off with a reunion with my automotive soulmate, the 1969 Ford GT40 race car in its Gulf oil livery. One of the real cars that won Le Mans. Let's head on over to Trial Mountain to topple the third race of Pure Sports Car Cup. Like I said before, when it comes to performance, the GT40s aren't even in the same galaxy as most other cars. They dominate in power classes well above their own. The only things that could take down the GT40 race car are the TVR Speed 12, the two Suzuki Pikes Peak cars, and the Toyota GT1. Our reward is the TVR Tuscan Speed 6, which is British. Now it was off to Luxury Sedan Cup at Special Stage Route 5. Nothing unusual about a luxury sedan racing a bunch of other luxury sedans. No, sir. Alright, I'll do the next race legitimately. Right after I sell the TRD Chaser. I bought a Ford Taurus, stuffed it with upgrades, went to Rome against a bunch of other luxury sedans, and won it. Happy now? Let me sell this Honda Accord Type R in peace. The Taurus was off to Midfield Raceway for FF Challenge next. This Taurus is alright. Not the best looking Taurus because of those bubble eyes, but the SHO is still a good performer. The final Taurus has the best looks, but in my opinion, nothing will beat the original Taurus. The first Taurus was the only one good enough for RoboCop, and it's the only one good enough for me. Taurus ran over. After booting the Tom's T111, the Taurus was upgraded to hit the 394 horsepower threshold. Back to Trial Mountain, I was bitten by the run's first instance of understeer. On lap 1, I went into the final chicane a bit too quick and didn't get the Trial Mountain leap I wanted. Thankfully, I successfully performed the Trial Mountain leap the following lap. You know I had to do it at least once. With FF Challenge done and the Mugen Prelude sold off, I retired for the time being. A trio of Fords joined the garage this time, with 2 of them being the cars that took first, second, and third at Le Mans. 3 truly is the magic number. The Ford Taurus carried on to Laguna Seca to start the next leg of the journey. The Corkscrew claimed another victim in the form of the Lotus Europa. Meanwhile, the Taurus cruised along to the win and netted us the Tom's T01. Still can't use it all these challenge runs later. Afterward, I had the sinking feeling that I wasn't going to be able to clear 4-wheel drive challenge. The only 4-wheel drive car I could buy was another Ford, funnily enough. It was the Ford Focus rally car. The RS200 is a rally prize, and even then we didn't get that in the US. Well, until that moment comes, I booked it back to Red Rock to take on some Grand Touring cars. After a cruise through Red Rock, we earned the Daishin Sylvia GT300 car. What is it with Red Rock Valley having the most valuable prize cars? Huh? Am I the only person to ever notice that? I switched over to the GT40 race car for the second race of Grand Touring Car Trophy at Grand Valley. Wait, I thought this was Grand Touring Car Trophy, not Muscle Car Cup. What's with all the Mustangs and Camaros? This is false advertising! The only car I'd call a Grand Touring car is that Aston Martin in a distant 6th place. This netted us the Chaparral 2D race car, exclusive to the mod. You bet your ass this is American. I couldn't find anywhere in special events to comfortably test the 2D, so instead I sent it to High Speed Ring to fight some luxury sedans. Even though this thing has only 3 gears, they're very long gears. This thing reached over 140 miles per hour in first. After a bit of adjustment for more acceleration, it was off to the races. The 2D was a bit slow off the line, but once it got going, it really got going. Yet another mid-engine race car punching well above its weight. The Autech Nismo GTR gets the boot, and then it's off to Convertible Cup 3 at Trial Mountain. I never thought I'd see the day, but I may have found a race car that I like driving more than the GT40. I just love its speed, grip, and gearbox quirks. After winning the Convertible Car World Cup, we win the Dodge Copperhead LM Edition, a complete work of fiction, but another product of the US of A. It's too powerful for FR Challenge 3, sadly, so we send it back to Grand Touring Car Trophy at midfield. A little squirrely in the corners at low speed and first gear as Wheelspin City, but at speed, it was like every other race car in production car races. Untouchable. Our prize for clearing the last race was the Unicia Jext Skyline GT500 car, $250,000 to the bank. Now, I think, was the time to address the 4-wheel problem. Again, the only 4-wheel drive car I can buy under the operating rules is the Ford Focus rally car. At only 299 horsepower though, it doesn't have a lot of power, and it actually weighs 200 pounds more than the road-going Ford Focuses. Because it's also a race car, I can't buy other upgrades for it. Well, here goes nothing. Worst case scenario, I can always tackle rally races. I remember what the prize car for the first Pikes Peak hill climb is in the mod, even if it wasn't built here. No issues here at Seattle Short for 4-wheel drive Challenge 1, and that grants us the Subaru Legacy Touring Wagon. Next, the full Seattle circuit for Race 2 was also without fault. Color me surprised. The Focus rally car is holding its own on asphalt. It's got good launch and good grip thanks to those free super soft tires that came with it. All that's missing is some exhaust backfiring. The Nismo 400R prototype can't stay, and now we mull over if the Focus rally car is good enough for Race 3. The power cap there is a very nice 690 horsepower. On the plus side, it's at Laguna Seca. Well, I knew I was going to be in some trouble when the Roof CTR2 was in the front of the grid. Thankfully for me, GT2 AI handles like slot cars derailing. This meant that while my car was much slower, it was way faster in the corners thanks to the lower speed and high amounts of grip. A true David versus Goliath story. That wasn't so bad after all. The spoils of our victory was 15,000 credits and the Audi friggin' Quattro S1 rally car. An all-wheel drive legend that cannot grace our garage today. With the hardest part of the session done, I decided to cruise in that 6.4 Impala I won. I bought a bunch of upgrades for FR Challenge 3, but then I realized, what am I doing? I didn't even buy some tacky looking wheels. This is a friggin' lowrider. In the end, I decided on some 10-spoke BBS wheels. GT2 doesn't have a lot of wheel options that scream lowrider, except for the raised Vesta Strawberry wheels. However, those are reserved for red Dodge cars and the pink Vitz. Now it was time to cruise in FR Challenge 3. This thing is so big that I have to drive it in the far chase camera. At least it didn't have the same visibility problem as the Pikes Peak Escudo. Driving through Midfield Raceway in the 6.4 started to give me Midnight Club 3 flashbacks as I catapulted a black Impala with gold accents and tail fins through the mean streets of Atlanta. It was fun, but also frustrating. Back to the race at Midfield, this 6.4 struggled with the more bumpy terrain but stayed put on the track. People like to name their lowriders, right? Well, I think after this race, I'm christening this Impala Lucille. I don't know, first name that came into my head.
Oh my goodness.
After selling the Mazda Speed RX-7, Lucille and I parked in the garage and called it a day. I didn't have to break the emergency glass this time, but I'm probably gonna do that the next time I go race. Yeah, I really didn't want to do this, but we got a K-Car Cup to win. We never got the Ka over here, but you never leave a job unfinished. Kirby's first race was actually the last race of K-Car Cup at Tahiti Road. I like doing this series in reverse order because of horsepower ratings. Why does the first race have a higher power cap than the other two? Anyway, at Tahiti Road, I realized I needed to make some tweaks to the gear ratios since the car has extremely slow acceleration. In its current state, Kirby can't even hit 70 horsepower. However, if I put even a Stage 1 turbo on it, that'll push the Ka over the power limit. After giving this shoe the boot, it was off to Seattle short. On lap 2, a Gigachino was hot on my tail, but thankfully I didn't need to brake as often due to how slow the Ka is. Racing slow cars is almost like racing go-karts, minus the constant gasoline fumes. The Mazda Speed Demio A-Spec is the prize, and I sold it to save your eardrums. I bolted on a turbo and then booked it to Rome short. As a car, I think the new Edge Ka is cute, but you're not going to be hearing me say I want to import one since it's 26 years old. It doesn't matter if this is a European car, anything with a Ford badge is unreliable. Even though I beat K-Car Cup and sold the Mugen Beat, Kirby's job is not over yet. A bigger turbo was mounted onto the Ka and was sent over to Trial Mountain for Race 1 of 80s Cup. I don't think I've ever seen a Toyota AE86 in yellow in this game. Is that part of the mod, or was that always in vanilla? Let me know. Kirby rides away on his Warp Star, until we need to use him again for Nationals. Our prize is the Mugen Civic Ferio. Next. Darth Vader was summoned again to clear the 2 remaining races of 80s Cup. First one at Special Stage Route 5. The minimap speaks for itself. They don't know the power of the dark side. The Mugen CRX Pro 3 is next on the chopping block before we trek to Endor, Deep Forest. This track has always been a little tricky with its slopes and curves, but in my mind, it's easier than Trial Mountain. Darth Vader's mission was complete, giving us another Mugen to toss. Darth Vader continued his reign of terror across Station Wagon Cup. Whether it be at Rome, Super Speedway, or Special Stage Route 5, Vader cut down the station wagons one by one. That included the likes of the Subaru Impreza Wagon STI, the Mugen Accord Wagon, and even the mighty Nissan Stagea 260 RS Nismo. But Darth Vader couldn't have all the fun, now could he? I switched over to the Copperhead LM and equipped it with some other gold BBS wheels. I'm gonna keep with a Kirby theme this session and dub this car Meta Knight. Armed with his Galaxia wheels, he traveled to Red Rock Valley for the 3rd race of Gran Turismo All-Stars. Don't forget, it's a rolling start. If memory serves me right, the last time I used the GT40 race car here, I had to battle a Toyota GT1 to the death. I wasn't going to make the same mistake as last time, which is why I picked Meta Knight for the task. The AI was keeping up, but I held a 5-second lead and went into the zone on lap 3. The prize was, unsurprisingly, the TVR Speed 12 and its $500,000 credit resale price. Then I took Meta Knight to Super Speedway. This thing's got surprisingly good high-speed cornering. The mod-exclusive Aston Martin DB7 TWR gets evicted before heading to the 2nd race of GT All-Stars. Clearly the TVR Cerbera LM didn't want to play ball this race, but once I took the lead at the start of lap 2, I never saw it again. Once I sold the Mines R34 GTR, I went out to buy a new toy to play with. This is the Vision Industries K2 LM Edition. The Vision K2 was intended to be a mid-engine American supercar with the plan to stuff a BMW V12 engine in the back. While this concept does exist IRL, there's only a very small handful out there, between 1 and 3. The K2 LM Edition is a complete fabrication by the A-Spec team that instead features a Chevrolet V8 pushing out 647 horsepower. You have a better chance of finding the real K2 on the road than a K2 race car on the track, because no race car version exists. Time to test out the K2 LM at Rome Circuit. This car handles like I'm playing a completely different game. It likes to fishtail like I'm playing Burnout, and it has insane high-speed cornering. Oh, and it's really fast, just in case you were wondering. This successful test run gives us the Tommy Kaira ZZ2 and $250,000. Wrapping things up for this chapter is Race 5 at Laguna Seca. Let's give a more technical track a try. Okay, the way I tuned the K2, the handling is responsive to a fault. I might need to stiffen the suspension a bit. Otherwise, it handled the dry lake like a champ. GT All-Stars is over, and we earn a bonus of $250,000 with the sale of the Nissan R390 GT1 road car. Not this time, friend. We're full speed ahead and on track to face the fastest cars in special events. And it all started thanks to one pinkish, American-ish puffball. The K2's adventure continued with tuned NA car number 1 Cup. At Autumn Ring, the K2 actively tried to kill me, though I suppose that could be because of how bumpy Autumn Ring is. That said, I love driving dangerous cars in video games. Our first random prize is the Spoon Integra Type R. Back to Grindelwald again for race 2. While this car is fast, it does not like uneven tracks. Maybe I need to tweak the suspension again. Our second random prize is the Weak Sauce Miata. Race 3 is at another uneven track, Laguna Seca. I guess I'm not doing enough suspension work because the K2 is still really twitchy. I may not be using this for GT World League. Nor will I be using the other Weak Sauce Miata. With all the cash I had saved up, I decided to bring back the Cheese Wedge once more. Believe me, I really wanted to use something else for tuned turbo car number 1 Cup, but I didn't know what could be given turbo upgrades. I went with a tried and true twin turbo car that had gotten me through this series many times. I inadvertently gave the other turbo tuners a 5-second head start by launching in second gear, but I soon sprung back into the lead. We get the HKS R33 Drag GTR as a return on investment. At the test course, I had to deal with not one, but 2 HKS Drag 180 SXs. Oh god, they're multiplying! The front-running Drag 180SX slingshots ahead on the back straight on lap 1, but it forgot that it doesn't need to brake on this track. The AI is lightning fast here, but they also like to throw the race. Our next random prize is the Nismo 400R in gray. Then it was off to Deep Forest. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one. Big bumpin'. And I don't mean bumping into other cars. I mean this track has bumps. It has big bumps, and it cannot lie. I also don't remember Cheese Wedge being this hard to turn, though I haven't driven this thing in like a year. I drove a red one last time, but found it useless. Upon selling a duplicate Drag GTR, I made the decision to retire Cheese Wedge for good in my challenge runs. With Super Touring Car Trophy next on my hit list, I break my unwritten rule of not using the same car for multiple runs again by buying the Advanced Auto Camaro. This can tackle both Super Touring Car Trophy and GT300, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Starting at my former least favorite track, Apricot Hill, the competition is much tougher at the start of the race, except for the race-modified Toyota Chaser. But once I clear the crowd, the Advanced Auto Camaro gets to show off its excellent grip. Our prize is yet another Camaro, the 1996 Z28 30th Anniversary Edition. I might not use this, but it's an American car, so I get to keep it. Next up is Trial Mountain. I traded paint with a Vauxhall Vectra and chickened out of taking the Trial Mountain leap on lap 3 after turning on autopilot. Say what you will about the Catfish Camaro. It's got a face only a mother could love, but this Camaro makes for one fine-looking race car. I just wish there were more than 2 I knew outside of this one and the blue one owned by Big Time. The Tom Supra, not the Castrol one, is booted, and then it's off to race 3. Ah yes, lovely Laguna Seca. This track has been in over 50 games and it's still a blast to drive on. Our next prize is the bizarre Peugeot 806 Super Turismo van. It's silly, and I love it. Not wanting the Camaro to steal the show, Darth Vader took the Darth Vader took the 4th race at Deep Forest. It was closer in the GT40 than it was in the Camaro, with the other race-modified cars posing a serious threat. Except for, again, the blue Toyota Chaser. The Renault 21 Super Turismo is next to go. Finally, it was off to Rome Circuit. Same story as last time. The AI were keeping up, but barely. Except for that Peugeot 806, funnily enough. Again, I wonder if some of the cars new to A-Spec aren't affected by tweaks to AI difficulty. Super Touring Car Trophy is done and grants us the BMW M3 Super Turismo car. Almost 2 hours worth of races were done, but I wasn't content with having the last 3 events live and let live. Remember, you don't leave a job unfinished. I got back into the Advanced Auto Camaro and signed up for GT300. Grand Valley East not only reminded me that this was another rolling start event, but that the Ferrari F355 had the potential to be the biggest threat of the series. It finished 3rd. Laguna Seca again. Been there, done that. Deep Forest. With the right car, this track is really fun to drive on. The interior is tough, but the right kind of challenge. Getting through that rewards you with high-speed corners and a nice canopy view. Midfield Raceway. This is a speed track through and through. This is where American cars shine. Finally, Apricot Hill. I've only recently started showing appreciation towards this track. It's got a bit of everything here. Long straights, long turns, chicanes, S's, hills, tire bridges.
It's got it all. It's got it all. Absolute dynamite.
GT300 is complete and we receive the Toyota Wedge Sport Celica. Useless to me. Next up is the GT500 Championship. I had a choice to make. Did I want to use the Ford GT40 race car, the Chaparral 2D, or the Meta Knight, the Dodge Copperhead LM Edition? After much deliberation, I decided to pick the Chrysler Phaeton. I'm kidding, of course. I picked the GT40. Race 1 is at Laguna Seca once again. This time, I spy a JLOC Diablo in the grid. Next is Super Speedway. Nothing to worry about here. Rome Circuit. He's there. Wait, if I called the GT40 my automotive soulmate, and it's a he, does that mean... No, it doesn't. You can't love an inanimate object like that. I will say though, love is love. Trial Mountain. Things get off to a bumpy start, but stabilize on the back straight. To me, the Trial Mountain leap is like the Lambeau leap of racing. However, some of my viewers don't know about American football and I can't be bothered to elaborate. Lastly, Apricot Hill again. At this point, I'm ready for the championship to be over. My brain was on autopilot for 90% of the race. I'm tired of seeing this track today. I just want to finish special events, man. After slogging through 5 laps of Apricot, GT500 is done, and we win the Dodge STP Tysan Viper GTSR. It's almost like the game knew I was doing an American car run all this time. I think I can use this even if it only raced in Japan. I mean, I did use that GT300 Camaro. No time to dwell on the Viper though, because it's time for Supercar Festival. The last special event is a new addition to the mod where the high horsepower freaks come out to play. I picked Meta Knight to take on the first race at Deep Forest Reverse. Maybe the Copperhead LM Edition wasn't the best choice. There were some fast drivers, except for the Vector W2 who got snagged at the inside tunnel on lap 2 and got stuck on it at lap 4. I wonder if this car doesn't have a matching tire compound. The Meta Nightmare is over and we earn the BMW Italdesign Nazca C2. You know, one of those concept cars from Need for Speed 2? Nah, whatever, we can't use it here. We switch over to the K2 LM and take it to my new least favorite track, Rome Night. Sure, because it's a good track, that means I dislike driving on it. Well, it's mostly because this track was rarely used in simulation mode. The K2's twitchy demeanor caused crap like this to happen on the first lap. A lesser me would have given up there, but I persisted and won the race. Imagine what it would have been like if I used the cheese wedge. Speaking of cheese, I sold another Italdesign concept, the Lamborghini Italdesign Kala. You know, one of those other concepts from NFS2, never mind. With over 2 million credits saved up, I took the plunge and bought the Ford Taurus stock car. This actually originated from the Ford Taurus SHO's racing modification in version 1.2 of Gran Turismo 2, since the Mark Martin Valvoline livery was supposedly unlicensed. Well, they're both here, but are now separate cars. Oh, wait, never mind, it's not here anymore. I wonder if the devs cut it for CD space reasons. Anyways, the Taurus stock car was off to Autumn Ring for the finale of Supercar Festival and special events. Hey, wait a minute, how did Cheese Wedge get there? The Taurus was sluggish off the line and constantly in first gear, so I might have to adjust that. Turning left is what most stock cars do, but turning right? That's not in the Taurus's job description. Special events are all done, and our reward is the outlandish Mercedes-Benz Low-Tech C1000. 750k is now ours. We're in the home stretch now, but before we finish the game, I think we need to make a small detour. There's a few one-make races to screw with in South City, starting with Neon Trophy Normal at Dodge. All one-make races are set on a random track, so who knows what I'll get. Here, I ended up in Deep Forest Reverse with all those tire treads from Supercar Festival still fresh. Okay, there are no tire treads in this game. The reason I'm checking out all the one-make races is not to pad out the video for time, but to see if there are any worthwhile prize cars. Neon Trophy Normal is over, and there is no prize car. I'll come back to Neon Trophy Racing later once I have a bit more cash. I'm saving all of that for if I need to buy another set of cars. Staying with Dodge, I got into the STP Viper and sent it to Viper Festival of Speed. Racing style leads us to Rome and a snake pit of rent-a-car Vipers. No prize. Ka challenge normal and we're at Deep Forest Reverse again. Kirby might as well have been a GT40 given how much of a lead he got. No prize. At this point, I decided to spend big and buy the Chevrolet Corvette C5R, also MUD exclusive. It's not quite the yellow one, but it was getting there. Then it was off to Grindelwald for Corvette meeting racing style. Oh, it's Grindelwald Reverse. I don't think I've ever driven this track in reverse before. First impressions of the C5R are pretty good overall, but it might be struggling a bit with all those hairpin corners. No prize. Now I find myself in a bit of a bind because I don't have enough cash to complete every one make uninterrupted. The plan is that I'm going to buy a Ford Focus and see if there's a prize car and Focus challenge. The track is Apricot Hill Reverse. I had to buy and upgrade a new Focus because the rally car was ineligible. No prize. Can't say I'm surprised. Well, I'm out of cash, so I went back to Red Rock Valley off camera to sell another Speed 12. I could have sold that low-tech, but I didn't feel like racing at Autumn Ring. Next order of business was to finish Viper Festival of Speed, so I bought a Viper GTS in the shade of yellow I was sorely missing from the yellow car challenge. Now, why does this have no steering? I don't know, you tell me. I'm not using this yellow death trap ever again. No prize. It was now time to give Blacklight a bit of a glow-up. Then it was off to Neon Trophy racing style at Grand Valley Reverse. The race was won without any problems. Ignore that. No prize. I'm starting to think there aren't any prizes at all in South City, but only 2 more races will tell the tale. Next, I bought a red C4 Corvette in homage to a car one of my friends owns. I didn't feel like racing on Apricot Hill again, so I re-rolled to Autumn Ring. Autumn Ring at Reverse. Seeing a C3 Corvette reminded me of my dream Corvette build / restoration, but I think I'm gonna keep that under wraps, just in case. No prize. It all comes down to Ka Challenge racing style. It was time for Kirby to go from a Star Warrior to a Knight. Racing a Ford Ka is hardly exciting, but let me tell you, it's a damn sight better than Ford racing on the PS1.
And nothing. Alright, can't blame me for trying.
Well, that was a complete waste of time. All the one-make races in South City are done, so I called it a day and went to relax. What, did you think I was gonna say, watch the Super Bowl? I recorded everything several months in advance, so I didn't even know who was playing in the Super Bowl at the time I was playing. It wasn't the Detroit Lions, unfortunately. This is it, the last leg of the game. It's time for all the Gran Turismo League races, starting with Nationals. Sadly, I have to downgrade Kirby for the race with the lowest horsepower number. This meant I could faintly hear the other K cars behind me for the duration of the race, except for the Suzuki Carry Van. Poor thing. This nabs us the Toyota Celica XYR concept. Or is it Celica? I don't know. The Stage 2 turbo is put back into Kirby and then it's off to Trial Mountain. I'd give that Trial Mountain Leap a solid Poyo out of 10. Then it's off to Rome Circuit. Nothing going here except for the Fiat 124 coming in dead last. We earned the Lancia Rosso Martini 037, which may have the lowest resale price of any race car I've seen in the game. Blacklight is gutted to fit into the 216 horsepower race of German Nationals 1, which it barely beat because I forgot it was 3 laps.
Oh, it's 3 laps!
That moment with the Ford TS50 and NFS Hot Pursuit 2 still haunts me to this day. We earned the Porsche Taycan 911 GT3R. Then I put the Stage 2 NA tune back into Blacklight for US Nationals 1 at Laguna Seca. Another clean trip around the dry lake. This gets us the General Motors EV1. Sadly not usable at this point, but a neat American car regardless. Now it was time to send Darth Vader back out to Tahiti Road. At the last corner, I keep Lord Vader from making an involuntary pit stop while keeping a large lead over the French cars. We earned the Renault Maxi 5 Turbo rally car. Then it was the Advance Auto Camaro's turn at Deep Forest. The Nazca C2 had me running for the hills. The only reason the A-Spec devs would put in a car that blatantly broke the power limit was that there was a prize car on offer worth a pretty penny. My assumption was correct, as I earned the Mercedes-Benz CLK DTM car. For the last race of German Nationals at Deep Forest, I swapped over to the Corvette C5R. Nope. That proved to be too stiff around the various twists and turns, so I gave the GT40 race car a shot. It was just as stiff, if not worse. Meta Knight was next. He would not be denied on my third try. Despite rough driving on the first couple of laps, I didn't quit. I came too far to give up now. The Copperhead LM held on, but barely. The Germans were unhappy, and I acquired the BMW V12 LMR. Even with the extra dough, I was short on race cars to buy, so I tried the Corvette C5R again at a track I know it'll excel at, Midfield Raceway. While it did have good straight-line speed, it once again had rough cornering. That red Tom Supra and the two Tommy Kyra ZZ2s were in hot pursuit. We earned the Mitsubishi HSR concept. Now we got back into the K2 LM for a little deja vu, a gauntlet of supercars at Rome Night. But first, I had to conduct more extensive tuning to keep the rear from kicking out and practice my driving line. Now was the time to race. The Alphas and Lancias stayed too close for comfort, and the K2 tried to kill me late in the race. But I was really starting to get the driving line down, just like I practiced. This gets us the JLOC Diablo. Now we take the K2 back home to the States for US Nationals 2. Sadly, the K2 struggled at the corkscrew on all laps, being given little room for error against the Chevrolet CERV3. Our prize for our troubles is the aforementioned CERV3. Let's take it for a test drive around Tahiti Road. Wait, this thing's all-wheel drive, isn't it? Guess I wasn't paying attention. That might explain why we can't catch up to the Venturi Atlantique LM since the CERV has no grip. Back into the K2 LM. This rolling slab goes wherever the hell it wants to on any bump. Our reward is the Citroën Sport BX Super Turisme. Trial Mountain, oh no. If any track can bring out the worst in handling, it's this one. All those bumps make the K2 feel like it has a mind of its own. After selling off the McLaren SOK F1 GTR, I decided that I need to get out of this death trap ASAP. Fortunately, there's only one race left in the 690 horsepower group, and that's at Midfield Raceway. Unfortunately, I had to contend with the Toyota GT1. I had enough of the K2 and sent in the GT40 into a rematch of the No Japanese Cars Challenge. Despite being outmatched in power and grip, I benefited from the GT1 being in a lower starting position this time. Bitter rivals to the end. This gives us the Toyota Super Silhouette Chaser. For the remaining races with no power cap, I chose the Taurus stock car, starting at Laguna Seca. However, I really needed to adjust the gears so I wasn't slowed to a crawl at the start. The adjusted gears are well suited to a smaller track, but I'll probably dial it back if I plan on using the Taurus again. But I don't know if I'll be using it again since I earned the mod-exclusive Chevrolet Camaro LM Edition. So I took the Camaro out to Trial Mountain for the last Nationals race, and the Hill Monster gets us yet again. So it's back to the Taurus. Once again, too close for comfort, but at least I got the transmission tuning right. All Nationals events are done, and that bags us the Aston Martin Nimrod NRA C2. Now it was on to EuroLeague. I picked the Advanced Auto Camaro for the first race at Apricot Hill. Hey, if it was good enough for GT300, then it's good enough for Apricot Hill. Come to think of it, haven't I used this car on this track before? And against another Renault Sport Spider trophy car? And haven't I already won this bitter GT1 before? I am having some serious deja vu again. I tagged the GT40 race car back in for Grand Valley. While the DTM and Super Turisme cars could keep up, they never passed by. The Lister Storm GTL is next to get the axe. For the third race at Rome Circuit, I decided to buy the regular Dodge Viper GTSR and see how that would fare. Why are these cars so fast? I know I swore off the K2 LM, but desperate times call for desperate measures. That Sauber Mercedes is damn fast, and there was no chance in hell I was going to catch up with it. But nonetheless, I kept pushing until I learned where the Sauber was braking. Whenever I didn't have the edge on straights, I tried to block. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Our prize is the Centura S99 GT1. I have my doubts this is American, so I'm selling it. After taking a breather, I decided to get into Darth Vader for the first race of Pacific League at midfield. Unlike that last gauntlet, Darth Vader force-choked his foes by building a massive lead, which meant...
Auto-pilot engaged.
Out goes the Nissan 300ZX GTS. With the next two races having no power limit, it was back into the Taurus stock car for Red Rock. With all those banked turns, the Taurus stock car was right at home. The Ford GT90 wouldn't give up without a fight though, and it kept a 2-second gap. Yet another Castrol Supra for the pile. You'll get your time to shine someday. For the penultimate race of the game, why don't I try the Chaparral 2D at Laguna Seca? Well, sadly, it has no grip. Instead, I decided to refine the Camaro LM. I took several practice laps before I had a setup I was satisfied with, then sent it to race. I had to make a mental note to not use first gear in the corners since there was so much wheel spin. Even though I was in the lead, it once again was not a comfortable lead. Only a 2-second difference from first to last. That unintentional drift I did on lap 5 didn't help either. Our second to last prize was the Mazda RX-7 LM Edition from Gran Turismo 1. With every other main race done, it was now time to tackle Gran Turismo World League. For the final 5-race championship, I would be sticking with a Ford Taurus stock car. Let's do it!
This is your crew chief. The course is tough, so good luck.
3, 2, 1, go!
Race 1, Trial Mountain. The gear setup I had wasn't working, so I reset and tried again. The Trial Mountain interior claims another victim. However, I wasn't choking on the 4th gear this time, and was able to get back up to speed. Race 2, Laguna Seca. Okay, this spinning out on lap 2 thing better not become a pattern.
The race starts when two of us become one. Bright lights fill my eyes. You have no choice but to race. There's no escape, no.
On lap 4, however, I'm able to pit maneuver the BMW V12 LMR at the corkscrew, only to be bitten by karma at the final turn. It wasn't a race-losing mistake, thankfully. Race 3, Apricot Hill. Driving a stock car around this track vaguely reminds me of racing Dinosaur Canyon in Daytona, USA. A stock car, a long corner, a hairpin turn, a long straight. The resemblance is there, people. Though some say it bears a closer resemblance to Suzuka Circuit. Race 4, Rome Circuit. No major issues to report here. Race 5, Midfield Raceway. I kinda wish this car had a higher top speed, but having an unobstructed racing line offset that. I also wished I could nail a sub 1 minute lap time, but not that important. What was important was the fact that I won Gran Turismo World League and officially beat the game. We got the 150,000 credit bonus for winning, the requisite check the arcade mode disc message, and Michael Schumacher's Ferrari F399 F1 car, a Rosso Corsa Red Beauty. However, rules are still rules. 27 cars was all I needed to complete Gran Turismo 2 yet again. Even with GT2's wider sandbox with more world cars, there's still that heavy Japanese bias that can be felt even with the A-Spec mod on top. If this were a run in the vanilla game, I would have gone down the license test gold route and sold the Spoon Honda S2000 to buy either a Mustang or a Cougar XR7. Vanilla or modded though, driving cars from only American car makers was a much more interesting challenge to undertake. Most of the cars I drove in this challenge handled like absolute crap without racing slicks and suspension tuning. We've always been good at making cars go fast in a straight line, or making race cars that mostly ever turn left around an oval. And for once, I can finally show off my patriotism by saying that I beat Gran Turismo 2 using only American cars. I can also claim to have beaten mrxbas to this challenge since I filmed everything you see months before I uploaded this. Hell yeah, brother. But before I close the book on this challenge, the A-Spec mod still has one more race series up its sleeve. Formula 1 Championship. The thing is, Ford was mainly an engine supplier in F1 at the time, and those engines were built by Cosworth in the UK. When Ford did enter F1, it was under Jaguar, who they owned at the time. And they sucked so bad that they withdrew after 2004. However, they're making a comeback as an engine supplier here in 2026. Point is, the Minardi M01 car made in the mod that sits in the Ford dealer was not built in America, so it doesn't count. While I won't be completing this race series today, I won't rule it out in the future. So, how about an incentive? If this challenge video can reach 300 likes by the end of 2026, I'll do a follow-up video where I tackle the F1 races. Good luck! To finally close out the challenge, I say, yes, you can beat Gran Turismo 2 with only American cars. Which American car in GT2 is your favorite? And did you ever try this challenge without using any Ford GT40? Let me know in the comments. This has been Squiddy the Kid, signing off. Like, comment, subscribe, and let freedom ring.